The biting cold of the Russian winter seeped into every crack and crevice of the sprawling psychiatric hospital. Nestled deep in the Siberian wilderness, the facility, known only as Ward 13, loomed against the twilight sky like a concrete monolith. The wind howled through the barren trees, its mournful wails weaving tales of despair and madness. 9-year-old Ivan sat on the edge of his bed, clutching his knees to his chest. His mother, Olga, a stern and overworked nurse, had just finished scolding him for breaking her porcelain tea set, a family heirloom. But her punishments were never ordinary. For Ivan, her wrath meant only one thing: another night locked in the bowels of Ward 13. "If you act like a little devil, you'll sleep with the ones who talk to devils," Olga said, her tone icy. She grabbed him by the arm, her grip like iron, and dragged him down the dimly lit corridor. The hospital smelled of bleach and damp concrete. The faint cries and mutterings of patients echoed through the halls. To the staff, these sounds were background noise. To Ivan, they were the whispers of monsters. "You stay here until morning," Olga ordered as she shoved him into a room with a heavy metal door. "Maybe this will teach you to behave." The door slammed shut, the metallic clang reverberating through the walls. Ivan was alone, or so he thought. The room was dimly lit by a single flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling. Rusty chains dangled from the walls, and the air was thick with the metallic tang of old blood. In the corner stood a patient, a gaunt figure with sunken eyes and skin stretched taut over his skeletal frame. He stared at Ivan, unblinking. "Do you hear them?" the man rasped, his voice like dry leaves crunching underfoot. "Hear what?" Ivan stammered, his voice barely audible. "The shadows. They talk when the lights go out." Ivan pressed his back against the wall, his small hands trembling. The man tilted his head, his neck creaking like an old door hinge. "They like you. They told me so." The bulb above them flickered again, then died completely, plunging the room into darkness. At first there was silence. Then came the whispers, soft, insidious murmurs that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Ivan's breath hitched as he squinted into the pitch-black room, his imagination conjuring shapes in the shadows. A faint scratching sound started near the door, growing louder and closer. Ivan's heart pounded in his chest. He reached out blindly, hoping to find something, anything, to defend himself. "Don't move!" the patient's voice hissed from the darkness. "They can't see you if you don't move." But Ivan couldn't help it. His foot scraped against the floor, and the scratching stopped abruptly. The room fell deathly silent. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, something scuttled across the floor. Ivan screamed as cold, claw-like fingers brushed against his ankle. Hours felt like days as Ivan sat frozen in the corner, his body trembling and his mind racing. The whispers never stopped, ebbing and flowing like a sinister tide. Faces formed in the darkness, pale and twisted, their hollow eyes staring directly at him. When the light bulb flickered back to life, the patient was gone, but Ivan was not alone. Etched into the walls were deep gouges, forming patterns that resembled eyes and mouths. They seemed to watch him, their jagged smiles mocking his fear. The whispers followed Ivan even after Olga retrieved him the next morning. That evening, as she prepared dinner, Ivan sat at the kitchen table, silent and pale. The gouges on the walls haunted his mind, and the whispers seemed to hum faintly in the background of his thoughts. "Eat your soup," Olga demanded, placing a steaming bowl in front of him. But Ivan's spoon trembled in his hand. His eyes darted to the shadows in the corners of the room. "They're here," he murmured, his voice barely audible. Olga slammed her hand on the table. "Enough of this nonsense. You're safe here." Suddenly the lights flickered. The shadows in the room seemed to deepen, stretching across the walls like creeping fingers. Ivan gasped, dropping his spoon as the whispers grew louder. "They said they're coming," he whimpered. The window shattered, the sound splitting the air. Olga spun around, grabbing a knife from the counter. The cold wind howled through the broken glass, carrying with it faint, mocking laughter. "What is this?" Olga hissed, her voice trembling for the first time. A figure stepped through the broken window, its form cloaked in shadow. Its hollow eyes glowed faintly, and its jagged mouth curled into a grotesque smile. "You should have listened to him," the figure rasped, its voice an echo of countless whispers. Ivan screamed as the lights went out once more.